Have you ever heard anyone talk about having a relationship with money? And when we also hear terms like taking control of money, what that actually means. And I don't know about you, but I know that I've been in some relationships that were less than ideal, let me say. If you've ever been in a controlling relationship, think about that. Did you really want to stay in that situation? Was it an environment that cultivated your ability to thrive and, be authentic, be yourself, be at your best? And so I bring this up because one of the quickest ways to change your habits with money is to reorganize the way that you think about money. And if you can say that you have a relationship with money, but you can also say that you've talked about taking control of your finances, how healthy is that relationship with money? If you were to assess, would you say that if your relationship with money was like a relationship with a person, that you would classify it as healthy? And what would you change if there were things that needed to be tweaked in order for you to feel like it was a healthier relationship? I know that when we shift our mindset around seeing money in this way, it sounds weird, I know, that it starts to unlock things. Because when we try to micromanage money and we're either really restrictive or we're avoidant and we're not even paying any attention, that money has a tendency not to work with us, but work what we feel like is against us. But when we find this, healthier harmony, I don't know if I want to say balance, but harmony between how much time we spend with money, how we take care of money, how we collaborate with money instead of trying to control it, then we start to see doors open. We start to see opportunities. We start to see things moving and progressing. And so let me put this into action, in Jarrell's story, like I mentioned. And she had hopped on a live webinar that I was doing on Instagram. And I was talking about how to improve your money habits. And from that conversation, right, some of the things that I mentioned created unlocks. We hopped on a quick call and just were chatting about the research I was doing to make sure that I make amazing videos for y'all here on YouTube. And she wanted to learn more about our community. And so we had that conversation. She enrolled, I think, August of last year, 2024. And immediately, within 1 month, 30-ish days, she was able to cut their food spending in half. Now, this doesn't mean that they weren't enjoying themselves. It doesn't mean that they weren't still eating out, because they did, but that because she lacked this first thing, awareness, the money was doing whatever it wanted because she wasn't paying attention to it. And so if we have a relationship with money, just like we have a relationship with a person, then we have a certain amount of time and energy and effort that we invest in this relationship. She did that, sat down with her money every so often, and got really clear on where it was going and where it was best for it to go in this season in their lives. And boom, money saved, money paid down, money, going where they want it to go, because now this became a collaborative relationship instead of an avoidant one or an anxious, micromanaging one. Does that make sense? And so keeping that in mind, knowing that awareness is the first thing, means how are you making sure that you are paying enough attention to what's going on? Not just with the money, but like where do all these beliefs come from? I call it background, beliefs, and boundaries. So your ideas around money, what did you learn growing up or not learn, right? Covert and overt, so things that people said blatantly, as well as things that people maybe did, body language, energy, that wasn't covert. Next, if that was your background, then that created certain beliefs. What was possible with money, what was allowed, what you think you're capable of or deserve. And because of that, your boundaries are the action or outcome of your background and your beliefs. So either you don't spend a lot of money and you hoard it because you're scared of it being gone and you don't want to make any mistakes, that you just don't do anything, or you felt deprived growing up, let's say, because you didn't have certain things or couldn't have certain things, and you spend money now because you deserve to spend the money you work hard for. but you also deserve financial peace, which means sometimes you don't spend now so that you have later, right? And so being able to connect those dots between, what you learned growing up, your background, the beliefs that that created for you, and the boundaries help create this awareness of your money mindset and the tactical, practical things that you are doing or not doing with money to build wealth, which lead to the next step, right? Acceptance. So when Jarrell, joined us, by that time she accepted her situation, but it's required that you accept every step of the way. So she, had one level of awareness and acceptance when she joined the live webinar and was like, oh, okay, like maybe this is what's going on with me. I should look into this more. She booked a call. We had a conversation. There was another level of awareness that came about through those conversations, right? And then acceptance, her saying, okay, I do need some support in this area. Let me get that, right? And so she joined and she accepted that she needed support, which is fine, right? We get support in all kinds of other areas in our lives. Why not this? However, right, it's going to look different in each stage, and you get the opportunity to make the choice. It's an opportunity for you to say, I'm going to accept that this is where I'm at. My bank account says what it says. Or I'm going to avoid that this is where I'm at and I'm going to keep going the way that I'm going. You get to choose for it to be a conscious decision or not. I say make the choice consciously, right? Like just know that this is what you're choosing, so don't be surprised of the outcome when that's the case. And so the awareness coupled with the acceptance gives you empowerment. It makes you able to decide how you want to move forward based on acceptance or avoidance, which leads to the last thing, which is attention. So when Jarrell joined our community, we pay attention around here. Okay, we're not here to play games. All of the women in our community are go-getters. They're focused, they're from different walks of life, different industries, different, goals to some extent, with the main goal being financial freedom, to take care of themselves, their families, and then be able to use money as a resource to have an impact in the world. So when we remove money as a barrier for us when it comes to stress and anxiety, when it comes to pressure and overwhelm, then we free ourselves up, like closing tabs out on a computer, to have the energy and the bandwidth and the resource of money to utilize it in the way that makes the most sense for us in our lives. For us to be able to go on vacations, cash pay, all right, cash flow. For us to be able to write checks to organizations that we like, to give back in the world in different ways. This is the work. When we pay attention, we sit down and we look at where the money is going. Where has it gone before we even try to tell it where we want it to go? It's one of the biggest mistakes when it comes to budgeting. We'll talk about that on another day. We have to know what's been happening with it in order to know what we need to do now to have a better relationship, to have a better flow, to create the right systems to get to where we want to go. That rhymed. But from this work, let me just look at it because I don't even want to hold you. Jarrell said, I make good money, so why doesn't it feel like it? She was making good money, but she didn't have the strategy, the systems, the support to be able to help her to get to where she wanted to go. And so she's a therapist, a wife, and a mom, and she had felt stuck, not really knowing how to use her income to create the financial freedom she knew she deserved and that she wanted to create for herself and her family, right? She's got 2 kids and juggling all the things, right? Because you're an entrepreneur, you're a wife, you're a parent, you're a human, a woman, trying to stay hydrated, But fast forward, right? So within the first 3 months, she was able to get a clear and organized plan with her money. Her food spending, like I mentioned, right, was cut in half without sacrificing family fun. And she was able to pay off debt and save without a restrictive budget. And she says it wasn't like painful to make these adjustments. It wasn't the end of the world.
It didn't have to feel like a big restriction,
Yeah.
as though like a metaphor with dieting, of like, oh, I have to diet to like not get these calories or lose these pounds. And diets can feel very restricting. They often lead right back to binging.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like restricting. I'm certain partly because there was such a goal, like so many goals tied to
Yeah.
it, and more intentionality and just feeling motivated and like working on lots of other things. So that was also shocking to go, wow, we just made such a difference financially. and it didn't actually feel that hard. It didn't feel like we're like hanging on, just like don't buy anything, just it didn't have to feel like that.
Additionally, these shifts that started mentally, psychologically, helped her and her husband to communicate better. It helped for them to have more confidence in being financial role models for their kids. Oh, that makes my heart smile. And the peace of mind of knowing that they're actually working a plan that's going to help them create financial freedom.
2 months later, 3 months later, right? I already feel so different than August.
Freedom. Awareness, acceptance, attention of a relationship with money, similar to a relationship with a person, in which you have to ask yourself if that relationship is healthy. And if it's not, what needs to change? Like, put it in the comments. Let me know. You know what? To have a better relationship with money, I actually need to set a money date every week to spend time with it. Just like date nights in relationships. In order to have a healthy relationship with money, I actually need to not be so stressed about it and not look at my bank account every single day in desperation. I need to give it some room to breathe, focus on what I can influence in my life, and check it every other day to start. Let me know in the comments what your action item is and your key takeaways when it comes to how to evolve in your relationship with money so that you can have a transformation like Jarrell's. You have options. You can do this work on your own, keep going down the same path that you're on to see if that gets you where you want to go. But you can also choose to get support, which I think is the easiest way because then you don't have to do it alone. And so if you feel like it would be helpful to have a conversation, if nothing else, with me so that we can get you really clear on exactly where you are and where you want to go and how to do that in record time, then use the link in the description below to book your complimentary financial consultation. And I would love to hear about your wins, your challenges, your goals, and things that you want to make happen, because us doing this work collectively makes the world a better place. You sharing this video with a friend or a family member that needs to see it, or it might be your accountability partner, makes your community a better place. And at the end of the day, our mission is to help women build wealth without burning themselves out. Because we believe that women deserve peace of mind, prosperity, and purpose-filled lives. Because success is getting what you want, but fulfillment is living what you're made for. And as you step further into alignment with who you were made to be at your core, to become more authentic and more yourself, that things fall into place in ways that sometimes we can't even explain. So if you want to join us on this mission, then feel free to share this video, save it, leave a comment, and, take your journey to the next level, because it's only going to happen one step at a time. It's only going to happen if we all work together collectively in our own journeys and also working together. It never goes unnoticed that you would spend some time with me, because I know that is your most precious asset. Go ahead and watch this next video that hopefully will help you deepen this change that you're creating in your financial journey, and I'll see you in the next one.